In case you don't know, I'm Tizzie Hall, the founder of Save Our Sleep. This is Save Our Sleep. Save Our Sleep is a book that I wrote about 20 years ago, and it's still a bestseller in Australia. I sell 400 or 500 copies a week, and people come to me to prevent SIDS and prevent sudden unexpected death of an infant. SIDS is the sudden infant death syndrome, and SUDI is the sudden unexpected death of an infant. People come to me to avoid both of these things. They also come to me to avoid sleep problems. I have dedicated my adult life to preventing sleep problems in infants and children. How we do this is I teach parents what bedding they need in order to prevent their child having sleep problems. I currently live in Australia, and what happens in Australia is parents have a baby and then they get told, make sure you don't overheat your baby, make sure you don't overheat your baby. And so what they do is they underheat their baby, they panic, and they remove their child's bedding because they're so scared that if they use bedding, they'll overheat their baby. And in America, people use really, really dangerous bedding. In America, they use things like polyester and cot bumpers. So in America, parents again are told, don't have any blankets or anything in the cot with their little one. But what we have done at Save Our Sleep is we have developed safe bedding, and the safe bedding is breathable. All of our blankets have little holes in them, and you can use them on your baby. They're like hospital blankets. I don't know in America if you have the same type of hospital blankets, but in Australia and Ireland and the UK, we have hospital blankets, which are airflow blankets. They're white blankets with tiny little pin-sized holes. And this is what we use at Save Our Sleep. We use blankets with little holes in them, and that way, if your baby was to accidentally pull the blanket over their face, they can still breathe. So people come to me with babies who are not sleeping, and all I do is teach the parents what bedding to use, and it turns a poor sleeper into a good sleeper. Also, lots of babies roll to their tummy and put their hands under their tummy and sleep with the bottom in the air. When you introduce the Save Our Sleep bedding, this creates a safer, more secure, and warmer sleep environment, which means that these babies who are rolling to their tummy stay on their backs, which is a much safer way for them to sleep. We know if a baby rolls to their tummy and sleeps face down in the mattress, the chance of them not making it through the night from SIDS or SUDI is much, much greater. So, what else happens at Save Our Sleep? Well, you may have heard about babies and sleep regressions. Lots of people say that 4-month-old babies go through a sleep regression and 6-month-old babies go through a sleep regression. 1-year-old babies go through a sleep regression. Well, at Save Our Sleep, we say that this is bollocks. It's rubbish. It doesn't exist. It's not true. Sleep regressions are your baby's needs not being met. So if you meet your child's needs, you don't have a sleep regression, which means if you feed them when they cry, a hungry cry, you don't feed them when they cry, just any cry. And if you make sure they have the correct bedding to be warm enough, they don't go through a sleep regression. If a baby is hungry or a baby does not have the correct bedding, they often go through a sleep regression. At 4 months, at 16 weeks after being born, a baby needs iron in their diet. If you introduce rice cereal into their diet at between 16 and 18 weeks, they are not going to go through that dreaded 4-month sleep regression. At Save Our Sleep, we introduce between 16 and 18 weeks. The other thing that happens between at 6 months is lots of people put their child onto stage 2 infant formula. Lots of people breastfeed somebody has said, I'm in America and we can't afford rice cereal. Well, if you're in America and you can't afford rice cereal, it's a really good adoption system in America. You can adopt your baby out to a family that can afford to look after your baby. It's not a good idea to have a baby if you can't afford rice cereal. So if I was in America, I'd offer to help you out and maybe adopt your baby. But I'm not in America, and if you can't afford rice cereal, you can't afford a baby. So you should be adopting your baby out. That may be harsh, but that's my view, because that's ridiculous. And I'm only saying that because I think you're joking, saying that you can't afford rice cereal. But anyway, so at 6 months, you have the 6-month sleep regression, and this is caused by people who've breastfed to 6 months, and then at 6 months they think, oh, I've done a great job breastfeeding till 6 months. Now I'm going to move my baby to infant formula, and you move to stage 2, which causes night waking, early rising. It's not a good idea. The other thing which causes sleep regressions is probiotics. Don't give your children or your baby probiotics. I believe in years to come we are going to regret giving our little ones pre-probiotics. So don't give your baby pre or probiotics. You need to avoid pre or probiotics. The other thing which causes sleep regressions is nighttime sleep cycles. So if a baby is given a dummy or a dodie or a soother or whatever you want to call them in America, if your baby is given one of those and they suck on it to fall asleep, when they start sleeping in sleep cycles, they start to wake up between sleep cycles. So babies do not sleep in nighttime sleep cycles until 6 months. At 6 months, babies start to sleep in nighttime sleep cycles. It means that they wake up between sleep cycles. So you put them to bed and at 7 o'clock at night, and they have a short sleep cycle of 40 minutes. Then they have a long sleep cycle of 80 minutes, which brings their sleep to 2 hours. At 6 months, before 6 months, they go from that 2-hour sleep to the next 2-hour sleep without waking up. But at 6 months, they start waking between these sleep cycles, which means if they wake up and they were sucking on a dummy before they went to sleep, now they wake up and the dummy's gone, they cannot get back to sleep. That it causes a 6-month sleep regression. The same thing happens a bit later at 9 months. They will have 2 more sleep cycles introduced. One will come at about 11 o'clock at night and one will come at 5 o'clock in the morning. Zion Zink says a baby is the best thing that you can have in your life, but you need to be strong. I'm sending you love. Okay, thank you for that. It is. Babies are the most amazing thing, but if you can't afford them, you need to seek help. So that is sleep cycles. So babies, when they're first born, don't sleep in sleep cycles during the day, but they start to sleep in sleep cycles during the day at 8 weeks. So you might have a baby who you can rock or pat or hush to sleep, and from 1 to 8 weeks, and then you put them down in their bassinet or their cot or their crib, and they will sleep and not wake up. But at 8 weeks, the daytime sleep cycles start. And if the daytime sleep cycles start and they have been aided, rocked, or patted to sleep, they will not be able to get from one sleep cycle to the next, and they will catnap. This is called catnapping. And you need to teach your baby to put themselves to sleep in order for them to stay asleep and not catnap during the day. They start catnapping at 8 weeks during the day, and they start catnapping from 6 months at night. How do you teach a catnapping baby to self-settle? Well, the first thing you do is make sure you have the Save Our Sleep bedding. Save Our Sleep bedding is a really important part of teaching your baby how to sleep. So come to saveoursleep.com and get the Save Our Sleep bedding. Join the Happy Baby Sleep Clinic on Facebook. So go to Facebook and join the Save Our Sleep Happy Baby Sleep Clinic, and we will help you in there with your baby. So you have the bedding and you've joined the sleep clinic. Get the book, read the book. Follow the Save Our Sleep routine for 5 days. And on the 5th day, start to teach your little one to self-settle. Self-settling means put themselves to sleep. If they can put themselves to sleep, they will get more easily from one sleep cycle to the next. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for today. Thank you all for watching and listening, and have a great weekend, everybody. I have lots of videos on YouTube that you can watch about how to put your babies to bed, what to do at 8 weeks, what to do at 10 weeks, and so on. And there is a video on sleep regressions, so you can catch up with all that on there. Thank you very much for listening to my Friday Crack. Everybody have a great weekend, and as I said, if you can't afford to have a baby, please go and seek some help for you and your baby. See you, everyone. Bye.